The roughest myth we ever believed, Part 2. There's a moment near the end of the episode when the Marines talk about being ready on the first night of the war, and the tone shifts from adrenaline to something quieter, a kind of haunted readiness. Because readiness for war is never just physical, it's psychological, it's existential, it's spiritual, and it reveals the real battleground, not the Pacific but the mind that believes danger is destiny. The Pacific becomes a metaphor in this light, a vast expanse, a horizon that never ends, a reminder of how big the enemy out there has to feel in order to justify the enemy in here. When the documentary lists global tensions, it sounds like strategy, but metaphysically, it's geography for guilt. The world becomes a map of projection, and every hotspot is just another place where the mind believes something out there must be subdued, controlled, or destroyed. This is why the Marines talk about not backing down as if it were survival itself. Because the ego has only one rule: never question the enemy. Once the enemy is questioned, the war dissolves, and with it goes the entire identity built around fighting. One of the young Marines says he loves violence because it makes life interesting. He's not lying. He's describing the ego's entertainment system. Drama as meaning. Threat as purpose. Fear as fuel. Violence as identity. For someone trained within that framework, peace isn't boring. It's annihilating. Because peace removes the need for the warrior mask. Peace removes the platform the ego stands on. Peace removes the self that only knows how to exist in opposition. That's the deeper tragedy. These are sincere boys. 19, 20, 22. They want direction. They want purpose. They want to be strong enough to protect what they love. But they were handed a myth instead of a map. A myth that says safety is earned. A myth that says danger proves value. A myth that says real men are forged through threat. All myths share the same feature. They are compelling, but they are not true. And the Marines have bought into the roughest one. You see it most clearly when they talk about loss. The officers, the older ones, the ones who have seen friends die. They speak differently. Their voices soften. They talk about parents. They talk about funerals. They talk about the weight of responsibility. The myth cracks in those moments. The mask loosens. Because grief interrupts the script. Grief exposes the tenderness beneath the uniform. Grief shows the boy who wanted to be dangerous only wanted to matter. And grief reveals the hidden truth. Violence does not make meaning. Love does. And love has no enemy. This is why the phrase, "not all are coming home," is the linchpin. It's said casually, as if it were a footnote. But metaphysically it reveals the whole belief system. If not all are coming home, then home is conditional, fragile, uncertain, awarded to some and withheld from others. This is the ego's theology. It is the opposite of the truth. Because if home is real, no one can fail to return to it. If home is God, then no son is expendable. If home is shared identity, then there are no enemies to defend against. The Marines don't know this consciously. But the despair in their eyes when they speak about risk, responsibility, and the ones who won't come back is the soul remembering something the ego tries to bury. This was never the real fight. And none of this was ever required. The documentary ends with global tensions rising. Spy ships, close encounters, warnings, alerts. It's framed as danger, but symbolically it is pressure. The pressure of a world built on fear trying to sustain itself. The pressure of a system that needs enemies to survive. the pressure of identities that would collapse without conflict. But the pressure also reveals possibility, because the moment the mind notices the loop, it gains the power to step out of it. Notice the ship's corridor in the image created. The steel, the haze, the unreachable sunset is the visual metaphor for this entire documentary. A sealed world, a manufactured identity, a false horizon, a mask welded to a frightened face. But the moment the Marine sees the mask in the reflection, the spell breaks, because the mind cannot unsee the truth once it has glimpsed it. And the truth is simple. The real first night of the war wasn't in the Pacific. It wasn't on a ship. It wasn't on a battlefield. It was the moment the mind believed it was a body in danger. Every war since has been a reenactment of that single belief. The Marines train for readiness on the first night of the war. But the real readiness is the willingness to question the belief that danger is identity. The willingness to question the belief that toughness is salvation. The willingness to question the belief that enemies are real. Because if there are no enemies in truth, then what remains is brotherhood without uniforms, purpose without weapons, and strength without sacrifice. That is the only war worth winning. And once that is known, even the roughest, toughest bastards discover they were never bastards at all. Just sons of the same light, dreaming in the same steel corridor, waiting to wake up.